The day I stopped being a prisoner of my own mind based on Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. Here are the 10 impactful points for you. The point number 1, the hook. The breaking point. I want to tell you about the worst Tuesday of my life. I was sitting in my car in a grocery store parking lot, engine off, hands on the wheel, and I could not move. Not because I was physically stuck, but because I had just spent 45 minutes inside the store, paralyzed by cereal choices. Sounds ridiculous, right? But here's the thing, it was not about the cereal. I stood there starting at 70 different boxes, and my brain just froze because the same thing that made me unable to choose breakfast had been making me unable to choose everything else in my life. Should I stay in this job I hate? Should I finally have that conversation with my partner? Should I start with my uh, business idea I've been thinking about for 3 years? I could not decide, so I decided nothing. And that Tuesday, holding a box of generic corn fakes flags, I raised something terrifying. I had let my life become something that was happening to me instead of something I was creating. And if you are ever felt like you are just going through the motions, like you are watching your own life from behind glass, like there's this giant inside you thoughts fallen asleep? This story is for you. Point number 2, the present we don't see. Let me take you back 6 months before that parking lot breakdown. I had what looked like a decent life, a job, an apartment, a routine. Wake up, coffee, scroll phone, commute, work, come home, Netflix, sleep, repeat. And every single day I told myself the same stories. I am not the kind of person who takes risk. Change is too hard right now. I'll do it when I have more money, more time, more energy. Tony Robbins talks about something in his book that hit me like a truck. He says most people are not lazy, they are just running patterns, mental programs that run automatically like software in the background. And I had some seriously broken software. Here's a real example. My friend David wanted to quit his accounting job and become a photographer. He was genuinely talented, but every time an opportunity came up, a wedding to shoot, a portfolio to build, he did say, I am not ready yet. 2 years later, he is still saying it. Or think about Sarah, who told me she wanted to lose weight. She did buy gym memberships every January, 5 February, cancelled every single year, same button, same outcome. This is what Robbins means when he says we are not controlled by our circumstance, we are controlled by our decisions, or more accurately, by our patterns of decision making. But here's what nobody tells you, you can't change a pattern you can't see. And I could not see mine, not yet. I just knew I felt stuck, like I was living someone else's idea of what my life should be. Point number 3, the lie we tell ourselves. So, what kept me trapped? I told myself I was being realistic, practical, responsible, but really I was terrified. Robin says something powerful in the book. It's not what we don't know that hurts us, it's what we know that just is not so. I knew that I was not creative enough to do work I loved. I know that speaking up would cause conflict. I know that people like me don't get to live extraordinary lives. But none of that was true. Those were just stories I did picked by along the way. Maybe from a teacher who said I was not special, maybe from a parent who played it safe, maybe every message society sends that says don't be too much, don't want too much, just fit in and survive. Think about your own life for a second. What story are you telling yourself right now? Maybe it's I am bad with money, so you avoid looking at your bank account and the cycle continues. Maybe it's I am not attractive enough, so you don't put yourself out there and stay lonely. Maybe it's I'm just not a morning person, so you hit snooze 15 times and start every day already behind. These are not facts, these are beliefs, and beliefs, Robin says, are just thoughts you keep thinking. But here's the beautiful, terrifying truth: if you created these beliefs, you can change them. I just did not know how yet. Point number four, the moment of decision. That Tuesday in the parking lot, something shifted. I was tired. Tired of feeling like a supporting character in my own story. Tired of waiting for somebody. And I made a decision. Not a wish, not a goal, a true decision. Robin says the word decision comes from the Latin root meaning to cut off. When you truly decide something, you cut off anything other possibility. I decided I was done living like this. But here's what important. I did not suddenly have all the answers. I did not have a perfect plan. I did not have feel ready. I just decided that something had to change and I was the only who could change it. Let me tell you about my neighbor Marcus. Marcus was 73 years old. He told me once that his biggest regret was never learning to paint. He did always wanted to say, but there was always a reason not to work his kids' money time. Then his wife died, and sitting at her funeral, he made a decision he was going to paint, not somebody now, not someday, no. At 73, he bought his first set of brushes. At 75, he had first gallery showing. At 78, he told me, I wasted 50 years being afraid. I am not wasting not one more day. That story broke something open in me. Because if Marcus could start at 73, what was my excuse at 32? Robbins talks about the moment of decision as the moment your life changes, not when circumstances change, when you change. And sitting in that car, holding that stupid box of cereal, I felt it the moment of decision. Point number five, the simple truth that changed everything. So I did what desperate people do. I went searching for answers and I found Awaken the giant within. The book teaches something that sounds almost too simple. You take control of your life by taking control of your focus. Whatever you focus on, you feel. Whatever you feel, you do. Whatever you do, you become. It's a chain reaction. If I focus on everything that's wrong, I feel terrible. If I feel terrible, I don't take action. If I don't take action, nothing changes. But if I focus on what I can control, even tiny things, I feel empowered. If I feel empowered, I take action. If I take action, I create momentum. Robbins gives this example. Two people lost their jobs on the same day. Person A focuses on, this is the worst thing that ever happened to me. The economy is terrible. I never find something this good again. Person B focus on, this is my chance to finally do something I actually care about. What can I learn from this? Who can I reach out now? Same event, completely different lives. I started paying attention to where my focus was going, and I noticed something horrifying. I spent hours every day focused on things that make me feel powerless. News, social media, other people's opinions, problems I could not solve. So I tried something radical. I took back my attention. Every morning before touching my phone, I did ask, what are three things I can control today? Maybe it was I can go for a walk, I can send an email about that project, I can eat something that makes me feel good. Tiny, tiny things, but my things. And slowly something started to shift. Point number six, the resistance shows up. But here's what no one tells you about change. The moment you start to transform, everything in you will try to pull you back. Robbins calls this the comfort zone. I call it the prison. I did gotten used to. 2 weeks into my new morning routine, I woke up and thought, this is stupid. None of this matters. You are not actually changing anything. That voice, that inner saboteur, it gets loud right when you are about to break through. I wanted to quit. I wanted to go back to sleep, back to autopilot, back to the familiar numbness. And I almost did. But then I remembered something Robbins wrote. Every problem is a gift. It contains the seed of an equal or greater benefit. The resistance was not proof I was failing. It was proof I was changing. Your brain is weird to keep you safe, not happy. And to your brain, anything unfamiliar feels dangerous, even if it's good for you. Think about someone trying to quit smoking. The first week is hell, right? Because the pattern is being broken. The neural pathway is being disturbed. Or someone living in a toxic relationship, even when they know it's the right choice, part of them wants to go back because it's familiar. I had to learn to recognize resistance as a sign I was on the right path. And every time that voice said, give up, I asked, what would the person I want to become do right now? And I did that. Even when I did not feel like it, especially when I didn't feel like it. Point number 7, the power of small wins. Here's where things started to get real. Robbins talk about something he calls the power of momentum and discovered it accidentally. 3 weeks in, I noticed I had more energy, not because anything external had changed, but because I was finally doing something instead of just thinking about doing something. I started small, painfully small. I could not change my whole career overnight, but I could spend 20 minutes researching options. I could not transform my body in a week, but I could walk around the block. I could not fix all my relationships, but I could send one honest text to one friend, and each small win built on the last. This woman I follow online. Her name was Rachel. She wanted to write a book, but kept saying she was not writer. So she decided to write one sentence a day, just one. Some days it was terrible. Some days she wrote more, but she never broke the chain. A year later, she had a finished manuscript, one sentence at a time. That's the thing about momentum. It does not care how fast you are going. It just cares that you are moving. Robin says the path to success is to take massive, determined action. But I did add. Sometimes massive just means consistent because 5 minutes a day, every day, beats 0 minutes a day with perfect intentions. And slowly, those small wins started to reprogram my brain. I started to see myself differently, not as someone who can't, but as someone who is. Point number 8, the breakthrough, awaken the giant. About 2 months in, something incredible happened. I got offered a freelance project. Nothing huge, but it was in the field I actually cared about. Old me would said, I am not qualified, someone else is better. I'll mess it up. But new me, the me that had been taking back control. Little by little said yes, and I did the thing. And you know what? I did not mess it up. I was not perfect, but it was real, it was mine. That's when I understood what Robbins mean by awakening the giant within. The giant is not some superhuman version of you, it's just you, the real you, the one underneath all the fear and doubt and learned helplessness. The you are you that's been there all along, just waiting to be woken up. I think about my friend Jenny. She spent 15 years in a marriage that made her feel small. She believed she could not survive without her husband. That was not strong enough. But when she finally left, she discovered she was stronger than she ever imagined. She got her own place, started her own business, reconnected with the parts of herself she did it lost. She did not become someone new. She becomes herself again. That's what this whole journey is about. Not becoming perfect, not fixing everything, just removing the layers of BS that have been covering up who you really are. Robin says we all have the power to create. The question is, what are we creating? And for the first time in my life, I was creating something intentional, not perfect, not impressive, but mine. And that felt like freedom. Point number 9, the tool that changed my life. I want to share one specific tool from the book that genuinely transformed how I operate. Robbins talks about something called the morning power questions. Instead of waking up and immediately drowning in stress, you ask yourself empowering questions. What am I grateful for right now? What am I excited about? What am I committed to today? Sounds cheesy, I know. I thought so today. So too. But here's why it works. Your brain is a question, answering machine. If you ask yourself, why does everything always go wrong for me? Your brain will find answers. It will give you a list of reasons you are you are a victim. But if you ask, what's the one thing I can do today to move forward, your brain will find that answer instead. You are not changing reality, you are changing your relationship reality. I started every morning with three questions. What's the one thing I am proud of from yesterday? What's the one opportunity I have today? Who can I appreciate or help today? And my entire energy shifted. I stopped waking up in survival mode and started waking up in a creation mode. Try it just for 1 week, see what happens. Point number 10, the ending. Your moment starts now. So here I am 9 months after that parking lot breakdown. My life is not just perfect. I still have bad days. I still doubt myself sometimes, but I am not the same person I was. I'm not waiting for permission anymore. I'm not waiting to feel ready. I'm not waiting for someday because Robbins taught me something that I will carry above forever. The only thing that keeping you from getting what you want is the story you keep telling yourself. And I decided to tell a different story. Not one where I am powerless, not one where change is impossible, not one where I am just stuck. A story where I am the author, where every day is a new page, where the giant within me is awake. And here's what I want you to hear. You have that same giant inside you. Maybe it's been asleep for a while. Maybe you are forgotten it's there. Maybe you've been told so many times that you will small that you started to believe it. But it's there. And it does not need a perfect plan to wake up. It does not need ideal circumstances. It does not need permission. It just needs a decision. One real decision. One moment where you say, enough, something changes starting now. Maybe it's deciding to have that hard conversation. Maybe it's deciding to try that thing you've been afraid of. Maybe it's deciding to stop numbing yourself and start feeling again. Whatever it is, the moment you decide, everything shifts. So let me ask you, what's your parking lot moment? What's the thing you will be avoiding, tolerating, or putting off that you know is keeping small? What would happen if you really decided you to change it? Not tomorrow, not when you are ready. No, because your life is not going to change when circumstances are change. It's going to change when you change, and that can happen today, right now. The giant is already inside you. It's time to wake it up. Thank you.